I'm Joanna Simpson here at Risk Minds International in Barcelona. Joining me now is Valerie Villafranca, Head of ESG Operational Transformation at Societe Generale. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.
And just tell me a little bit about how you're finding the conference so far.
So really and honestly, very interesting. And very interesting because first of all, it gives me really an opportunity to understand where everybody is right now in terms of ESG transformation. It is really the hot topic, many different sessions around this topic, many different banks presenting as well as consultants. So really it provides me the ability to have a global overview, and within 2 to 3 days of my time, I really can get a lot of information and also a sense, a feeling of where we stand and where we are right now in that field of ESG transformation. So for me, it's really valuable, especially given my job right now.
And when a financial institution is looking at operationalising their ESG strategy, what are some of the important things they should be aware of?
So I think one of the first points that is really necessary is that you need to prioritize, because ESG, in fact, and this is maybe what makes it different from other topics, is really touching everything we do. i.e., it's not only, it's a real paradigm shift. i.e., it changes our clients, our environment, by definition, but also it changes who we are. It changes our purpose and even what we are up to and what financial institutions are expected to do. Expected from the stakeholders, from their clients, from their employees, from the regulators, etc., is changing. And that is something that is really new to us, and that is a real paradigm shift. And therefore, when we get into that journey, of operationalizing ESG, you really need to have that in mind, that it is not just another project down the road. It is not just something new. It is a real paradigm shift regarding everything we are and really our inner identity as a bank, our purpose. So it's a real game changer.
And what challenges and limitations should risk managers mitigate against? And what opportunities are there as well?
Alors, I would say that the first point is really, for us, a major difficulty is the breadth of the change and also the scope of processes, of risk management processes that are really involved in this transformation. So it's really, in a lot of instances, you just talk to credit people or you talk to market risk people. But here, you need to talk and to discuss with everybody. You need to talk with non-financial risk people, operational risk, compliance risk, liquidity risk, market risk, credit risk, model risk management. You need to talk to finance department, obviously to all LOD1. And therefore, you have a huge amount of people in front of you, just to manage the fair amount of interlocutors you have in front of you. And that is a real challenge. And I would say that right now, this is one of the key challenges I'm facing. The second challenge, I would say, that is really of utmost importance, especially for risk managers like us, is that, risk managers, especially when we are coming from the quantitative side, we usually have developed for years approaches saying, okay, this is what happened in the past. So I'm collecting my historical data. I do a lot of regression analysis, blah, 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 and modelings, etc. And then I say, okay, this is what could happen in the future with that time horizon and that level of probability. This is basically what we have been doing for the past 20 years, I would say. And here, the problem is that when we look at past history, we have none. So our raw material, our major input, is not there anymore. So we are kind of stuck in there saying, we have a problem there. And our regulators have a problem also because, this is how they built the regulation. Say, okay, so you take your historical data and then you say, okay, what is the worst scenario that we have witnessed in the past? And therefore you model what would be the impact of that scenario on your current portfolio? And there you have your capital requirements. But here we have nothing. So what do we do? So we need to take, forecasts from scientists, but it raises a lot of questions. And that is also a major issue and a major challenge that we have. We are not used to it. And then, last but not least, we are also used to work based on financial data. And financial data, what is nice is that we have been producing financial data and accounting for many years now. So we have produced lots of chartered accountants, people that are specialized in accounting. So we have a lot of trained people. We have a lot of IT systems. We invest a lot of money producing the accounts. And all, corporate clients invest a lot of money in producing the accounts. All that is audited, verified, etc., etc. And therefore, it's quite of good quality. But here, we have, carbon accounting is really at its infancy. So when a corporate client is reporting, GHG emissions, for example, or carbon accounting, so I estimate my emissions for last year will be 1.5 million tons. Okay. And then 6 months down the road, now, sorry, but there have been some changes. We've made a mistake and it's not 1.5, but it is instead 1. Okay. So the figure we have been using is just not the right one anymore. So when I told my general management, okay, we told you 3 months from now, or even 2 weeks from now, that our exposure to oil and gas sector was that. You're gonna laugh, but it's not that. It has changed since, and it is this. And therefore, and tomorrow, it will be different, because right now, carbon accounting is not mature. We don't have enough people trained in carbon accounting. And if I tell you how do you calculate an emission, I guess you might not be completely comfortable if I tell you, okay, how do you, generate a P&L? Usually you have more people knowledgeable around the table. So we don't have people with the right training, we don't have the systems, and so on and so forth, and all that is not validated nor audited on a general basis. So last but not least, we are working on sand, and that is not something we are really used to. So from my perspective, unlocking the carbon accounting piece is really the key for everybody to progress. Because unless you can measure something, you cannot manage it. And right now we are trying to manage something that in fact we cannot measure. So this is really, really what is the most important from my perspective.
Valerie Villafranca, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.